Hello dealy, and welcome to Something Edible.
There's really nothing that beats an ice cold glass of iced tea on a hot day. I love iced tea. I'll drink a quart of this stuff during a typical day. Got to get my caffeine on. The problem is with iced tea is not all of it's really that good. Most of what passes for iced tea is just this brown colored water that really isn't that enjoyable anyway. It just becomes this vehicle to dump a bunch of sugar in if that's your thing. Well, there's a better way to make iced tea, and it does require one special tool. You gotta have a French press to do good iced tea. But before you even start with a French press, you gotta make sure that your equipment's clean. So if you have a French press and you've been using it for coffee, it's time to clean your press. So I've got my French press right here, and you can tell it's kind of dirty. I mean, this is not the stuff that you want to taste in your iced tea, so it's always a good idea to clean your press regularly. I've got some very hot water here, about a quart of it, that I'm just going to fill this press up with. It's kind of like making the tea before you make the tea. And you notice that I've got this press, I mean, it's got a plastic bottom on it, but I've also got this on something that's thermally safe. You don't want to take a glass of hot water and put it on something cold. That's just gonna wreck your press. So the next thing, I'm going to add about a half a scoop of oxygenated cleaner. I'm just going to add this in here, and it's going to go crazy. You're going to see the bubbles start to form, and it's going to fizz. But where you're really going to see the magic here is on this top here once we press this in. So very carefully, very evenly, I'm going to put this down in there and press gently and go about a third of the way down. We've put the press to the cleaner with the hot water, let it sit for about 5-10 minutes. I mean, you can see this. I mean, look at that. I don't know if you remember how brown that was before. That's shiny now. Make sure you rinse all that stuff off. You won't get any soapy residue, but you still get an off taste if you don't make sure this is rinsed thoroughly. So we're ready to go now. I'm going to add 3 heaping tablespoons of tea to this press. 1 tablespoon. And you can use whatever loose tea you like, but just make sure you're using loose tea. Totally the way to go. You don't want to use the stuff in the bags. You're just buying dust then. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring this water over. And temperature is important with this. Once you know how your microwave or your hot pot or whatever works, then you don't have to mess with this too much. You know, you just pick a time and run with it. If you're serving tea to company and they're not used to the really strong stuff, I'd suggest around 180. If you like it stronger, 190, 195. That's about 185 right now, so that's middle out. Your guests will know that this is homemade tea. So I'm going to add this to the press. And in my microwave, it's a bigger microwave. It takes about 5.5 minutes to get to the temperature I want for tea, but you'll have to mess with it a little bit to see what you need. And I like 5 minutes to let this steep. You let it steep with the lid off, and in 5 minutes we'll come back, we'll press this, and add it to some cold water. All right, 5 minutes has elapsed. It is time to press. Grab your press, make sure it's tight, secured. Make sure that this screen is facing out where this lip's at. Push down evenly, and then take that lip and push it away from you or other people, because if you get crazy, you don't want to splash them with hot liquid. Put your hand firmly on there, and then press evenly and slowly. And as you do that, you are going to make a fantastic tea concentrate that we're going to then dilute with cold water. Here's our tea concentrate. Nasty stuff's on the bottom, good stuff's on the top. That's how a French press works. And I've got a pitcher here with 4 or 5 cups of cold water. Notice that this is a metal pitcher. Use metal here because we're pouring hot into cold. You could also, if you have a nice plastic pitcher, that would work too, but absolutely can't recommend glass for this at all unless you just like making a mess in your kitchen. So with your hand on top of the press, carefully pour, slowly pour. You get too fast, this stuff's going to dribble down the down the side, and you're just going to make a mess. So see those vapors coming up? Those vapors smell awesome. You just sit there and sniff tea all day if that's your thing. This is how you know you're getting real tea and not some nasty brown colored water. Okay, so let this completely cool before you go messing with the tea grounds. They just go great in your garden. So once that's done, you get yourself out a glass. And this is the thing I like about making a pot of tea. It's instant gratification after that. So plenty of ice. Pour that tea on there, and sugar if that's your thing, or, you know, I'm going to do a little lemon this time. Why not? Oh yeah, I need this. Perfect. I mean, you know, the lemon's totally optional. If sugar's your thing, go ahead and add it, but honestly, it doesn't need it. You get that nice little bitterness that you expect from tea. It smells like tea, which is really saying something, seeing as it's iced already. You expect hot tea to smell like tea, but this iced tea smells and tastes like tea. I'm going to take another drink. Oh, that's great. If you want to know how to make your perfect pot of iced tea, you can look up this recipe at the Hayes Daily News, or you can check out my website, somethingedible.com, if you'd like to get some details beyond what you see here on the video. And if you got questions, hit me up on Facebook, Twitter, or even email. Until next week.